بالقاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وإترته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد والقرآن الحميد: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صلوات. We have been discussing the importance of faith in our lives. Indeed, if you consider, if we got everything in this world, all the material possessions, all the comfort, everything that we can think of in terms of material possessions, worldly things, all that is not going to make us happy. If we amass a lot of consumer goods, it is not going to make us happy. We see a lot of people who are already very rich, and they are, even if they are not rich, they are buying on credit, a lot of consumer goods, making their house filled with consumer goods, more and more things, but it doesn't give them happiness. Because happiness is in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Happiness is a function of the soul. Happiness is that connection that we have by our soul with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that we get through faith. Faith gives us this total confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is our protector, He is our razik, He is our khaliq. He made us, He created us, He sustains us, He takes care of us in every moment of our life. This faith that we have in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one that sustains us in every moment of our lives. The faith in the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Holy Quran, which is such an important book of guidance that supersedes every other book of guidance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed on other prophets. So this is the book of guidance that is going to endure until the day of Qiyamah. Such a beautiful and comprehensive book of guidance, that faith in Quran. This is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the kalam of Allah. These are the words that have got miracle. Each and every word has got miraculous effect. You know, in the time when the Holy Prophet, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was in Mecca and he had propagated Islam at that time, and a lot of people were persecuting him. And he used to recite the Holy Quran. And those people used to put their fingers in the ears. They used to say, there is a certain effect that they feel when they hear the Holy Quran. So they used to put their fingers in their ears. They don't want to hear this. They say, this is magic. This is, Muhammad is, na'udhu billah, is a wizard. He's a magician. And they used to, in the daytime, they used to put the fingers in their ears. But when the Holy Prophet used to recite at night, those people who opposed him used to come outside his house and listen to the Quran. Because that effect the Holy Quran had. They used to come and listen to the Holy Quran because there was a miraculous, soothing, tranquilling effect that the Holy Quran has. And indeed, you'll find that every time the Holy Quran is recited, there is a degree of comfort, there is a degree of tranquility that we feel in our hearts. We feel that we are now being connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the faith in the Holy Quran. And the faith in the love of the Holy Prophet. In the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. This love that connects us through this love we are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this love is so very important. Faith in this love. Faith that this love is going to give us salvation, that this love is going to take us and make us successful in this world and in Akhirah. It's going to make us successful everywhere. Faith in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Do not despair of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will forgive all your sins. Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'an. He will forgive all your sins. The faith that we have in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed mercy on himself. كَتَبَ عَلَى نَفْسِ رَحْمَةً. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He is taking care of us. He has given us freedom. He knows we are making a lot of mistakes. He knows where shaitan is taking us. He knows our thoughts. He knows He is closer to our jugular vein. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. He is closer to us, to our jugular vein. No one can be close to the jugular vein. He's closer than that. He takes care of us. He sees we are making a lot of mistakes. He gives us tawfiq. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful to us that when you want to commit a bad deed, when you want to commit something which is not good, He puts an obstacle. He puts an obstacle so we don't commit a bad deed. And when you want to do good deeds, He gives us the facilitation to do good deeds. Gives us the strength to do good deeds. So faith is very, very important. Faith gives us love, hope and warmth. It gives purpose to our efforts. For our efforts are all sustained by faith. It gives us a focus and a direction. You know, there is some inner spiritual revolution that takes place when you have faith. Faith can move mountains. Faith lifts a man vertically high to the highest spheres. Faith reforms mankind. And the power of faith is continuous. Throughout, it gives us, it sustains us. It beautifies the spirit. It beautifies our inner feelings. It gives an inner security. We feel secure. We have a sense of security. Whatever may be happening in the world, whatever may be happening, but we feel secure in our heart. Allah is our protector. Allah watches over us. Allah sees, He knows what's happening, and He will protect us. We have this tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This religious faith is so important. In today's world, if you think what's happening, if you open the television to watch news, you get news of calamities over calamities. Have you ever seen huge movement of refugees from one country to another country in such dire circumstances? Have you ever seen war? Have you ever seen strife and civil unrest and problems, shedding of blood, killing of people, dishonoring of women, all of that taking place throughout in various parts of the world? All these things are taking place, but there is something that's sustaining us. Our faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our faith in our Holy Prophet. Our faith in Islam. Our faith in our Holy Book. Our faith in our A'immah, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. This is the faith. It's sustaining us. Allah watches over us. We know these things are happening. There are difficulties. Can you imagine people are walking from Syria, walking across land, crossing the oceans, drowning, having difficulties, living in refugee camps, having such difficult situations. All of that is happening. What is sustaining us in all these difficulties? It is narrated that in Akhir Zaman, there will be so many problems throughout the world. We are entering the stage of Akhir Zaman. But what sustains us is faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Faith that we are being protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The religious faith is only thing that can give us power. When we find ourselves powerless, when we find ourselves we cannot do anything, then it is faith. The faith that we have when we supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we supplicate and we do dua with the wasila, in dua tawassul, we do the wasila with all our masumeen. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the faith. It transforms us. It makes us suppress our inner animal desires. Our selfishness goes. We are motivated to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are free from doubt and uncertainty. For faith is the one that drives us. You see, faith sustains the soul. We are composed of two things, body and soul. The body is material, and it remains. When a person dies, the body is given to the earth, and he enters into the alam al-barzakh. And when he enters alam al-barzakh, he has got another body which is misali, badan misali. He has that which is very spirit, like a spirit, like air. He can move around everywhere, and that body he gets that. But the ruh is what remains. The ruh is what needs, and it's the ruh that we are supposed to be taking care of. Today we find in the world, people are doing exercise, they are going to the gym, they are taking care of themselves, they are beautifying themselves, they are using cosmetics, they are using plastic surgery, they are using every technological means to remain young, to look young, to be beautiful, to look very, very beautiful. All these things are to do with the body. The moment the soul leaves the body starts decaying. The body starts decaying. It could be the most beautiful body in the world. It will start decaying. It will not be recognizable after some time. All the beauty will vanish. It will just go away. The soul is the one that is eternal. The soul remains.
Yes.
When we die, our soul remains. It goes into alam al-barzakh. And if we have strengthened our soul, if we have sustained our soul, if we have made our soul powerful, if we have taken care of our souls, if we have protected our souls from guna, from all kinds of evil, have given them power, then we will find that we will be very much in a very good situation in barzakh. Because the soul is the real motivator. And in this world, the soul, if you motivate the soul, if you keep the soul pure, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. The one who purified the soul is successful. The one who let it be corrupted and spoiled, he perishes. So the soul is the important thing. And what sustains the soul? Faith. So you see the connection between faith, soul, and faith is connecting us to Allah. The soul wants to be connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ala bi dhikrillah tatma'innul qulub. Indeed, in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the soul feels tatma'in. It feels the tatma'innul qulub. It feels the tranquility of the heart. When we have faith, it doesn't matter where we are. You see, sometimes people become very religious and are faithful and have faith when the environment outside is very conducive. So for example, when we go to Karbala, and inshallah we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we all can go to Karbala, we find there is a spirituality in the environment. And that spirituality enthuses us and infects us with such empowerment. And we feel so spiritual. We feel so connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You go to Khani Kaaba and you are in Tawaf. You feel so spiritually connected. We are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We feel we are very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is because the environment outside is such that we are being totally affected by our environment. When we come to the mosque, when we come to the center, when we listen to Latmiya in Arabic or Farsi, Nauha, when we listen, we feel a sense of spirituality descending upon us and we feel very, very empowered. That is the environment. But the soul needs the faith to keep it in that state of empowerment, in that state of purity, in other circumstances as well. So when you go outside this center and you go in the street, what happens to our empowerment? We start losing some of it. We start feeling now, we don't have the environment outside. So unless we make our soul very powerful, that, you will be blessed wherever you are. You will be blessed wherever you are, in whatever circumstances, even if outside the whole world is in fahsha and fisk, and for you will find that your soul is sustaining you to remain pure. And that is the way in which the faith will work for us. So when, for example, we have Nabi Isa saying, وَجْعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. He made me Mubarak. He blessed me wherever I am. I don't have to be in an environment of purity in order to be blessed. I can be in whatever environment. I have a force field. I have a force field of taqwa all around me. I can live in an environment that is totally corrupt, yet I retain my faith. Yet I retain my religion. Yet I retain my soul empowerment. That is the kind of thing that faith gives us. And therefore we need faith. One of the things that one can ask oneself is, what will religion give me? People can ask, what is the benefit of religion to me? So if I start becoming religious and I follow a religion, what will be the benefit to me? So there are some specific points that one should bear in mind. That religion provides the principle and the authority for morality. If you want to know what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, what is evil, what is righteous, we will get that through religion. Religion, if you look at the Holy Quran says certain things are very bad, drinking is very bad, all these things are bad, adultery is very bad. We know what is bad because the Holy Quran tells us that this is, so it gives us the authority. And this authority, so we get our moral values from religion. We don't get our moral values because we decide it. You see, human beings are inherently selfish. And if you look at ethics, if you study ethics, you start getting this discussion that what is good? How do you define good? And if you study ethics at the university level, they'll say whatever you feel is beneficial to you is good. So that's the basic level of ethics. You say whatever is beneficial to you is good. And then, but this is not right, because what is beneficial to you may be very bad for others. Maybe you may be exploiting someone. You may in fact be totally oppressing someone else. You may be benefiting yourself, but it's not good for others. So then the argument says that no, not only what is beneficial to you, but beneficial to the public good, to others. So goodness is what is good for others. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not left us with the task of determining whether something is good or something is bad. He has given us a moral code, and this He has given through religion. Religion gives us a moral code. We know that this is good, this is bad. We are accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are responsible for ensuring that we obey the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second thing that religion does for us is that it gives us the power to bear difficulties. You know, many of the people who are coming from Syria and going to Greece and are living in very, very difficult circumstances. There are some people from Afghanistan, there are some people from Syria, some people from Iraq, other places. They are living in very dire circumstances. Many of them are Shias. Many of them are Shias. What is sustaining them? They are losing, some of them have lost their children on the way, some of them, their children drowned. What is sustaining them? What is sustaining them is religion. They know that they are being empowered through the religious faith that they have to bear whatever trials and whatever tribulations Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala subjects them to. So sometimes we get many difficulties in our life. Sometimes we are not always comfortable. We are not always having rose garden situation in our lives. We are sometimes having many difficulties. And in all the difficulties we have to sustain ourselves. And what sustains ourselves is faith. What sustains ourselves is religion. My belief that Allah exists. My belief that He is Rahman and Rahim. My belief that He is my Razik, that He is my protector, that He will look after me, that whatever He does for me will be for my better good. That makes me very powerful. That makes me powerful to bear any difficulties in life. Because it gives me the strength. Religious faith gives you the strength to bear the adversities of life. So, for example, you have the confidence that, look, even if there is something very bad taking place now, it will improve, inshallah, it will improve. Allah will take care. Allah will take care. Eventually, it will be alright. Allah will take care of it. This is the strength that we get. And the third thing is that it gives you a spiritual infrastructure. It gives you a spiritual structure within which to look at yourself. So when religion, you've got a spiritual structure, you know where you came from, you know where you are going. You are not confused. You're not confused. You don't have doubts. You don't have situations that, look, doubts and uncertainties and feeling that I have no one, I'm lonely. You can be, a religious person can be in a place alone, but he is feeling connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our seventh Imam, for example, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
What happens? He is put in prison. He is put in prison. And you find that not only is being put in prison, but the ruler of that time wanted to send someone who was a very beautiful but a woman of very loose morality to seduce him. To seduce him in a prison in which he's alone. And when that lady comes inside, she has been sent with a specific target, specific mission to make him, to seduce our Imam. What does she find? She finds that our Imam is saying his prayers and he's fully absorbed in worship. And she finds that, when she starts thinking of what she wanted to do, suddenly she gets a vision of the people surrounding the Imam. The people surrounding the Imam, they are Hurra'in. These are the Hurra'in from Jannah who are there surrounding the Imam. Imam is alone praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and she is so flabbergasted by this vision, this miraculous vision that she sees, that she becomes muttaqi immediately. She starts praying behind the Imam. She starts becoming very religious. She becomes a very religious person. Can you imagine? Just to be in the presence of our Imam can transform someone who is absolutely of immoral character, and make that person a religious person and a muttaqi, and transform the soul of the person. That is the effect of faith. You see, there are many things that people, if you don't have a religion, you don't know how to put yourself in. What structure you put yourself in. For example, we are very lucky. You can ask even a child that, who are you? He said, I am a person who has been created by Allah. What's going to happen to you? He said, Allah is going to take care of me, and I'm going to go to Jannah after I pass from this world. So all these things are quite clear. So we have a structure within which we can place ourselves. Whereas if you don't have religion, the moment you have a calamity, you don't know what to do. You're totally overwhelmed. Once everything is alright, you can say, oh, I'm comfortable, I'm making a lot of money, I've got many cars, many houses, I'm very rich. I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, I can do whatever I want. The moment you get a problem and you are struck, you can't move from your bed. You can't do anything. You become paralyzed. You become disabled. Immediately you become lonely. There's nothing. So everything faded away. All the power in the possessions, in consumerism, it went. Whereas if you have faith, even if you are on the bed, even if you are sick, you are still with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know that Allah is with you and He watches over you. So that gives you the spiritual infrastructure within which to sustain ourselves. And of course, religion promotes justice, and religion promotes equality, and religion promotes that we should treat each other with equality, without discrimination, treat each other as brothers. All the people in faith are brothers. So you can either have a person who is your brother in faith, or he is your equal in humanity, right? So either a person is a Muslim and he's your brother in faith, so you take care of him, you are good to him, there are 30 rights a fellow Muslim brother has over you, right? You take care of him, you fulfill his needs. But if you see someone who is not a Muslim, he is your equal, he is your peer in humanity. He is your equal in humanity, and therefore you will take care of him. You will also, if he's your neighbor, take care of him. He is a human being. You are connected through this connection of being a human being. So we are in both situations, either through faith or through humanity, we are connected to everyone else. And we have obligations that we have to fulfill towards each other. So there's one thing more that I would like to add. And that's so important for everyone, particularly for our youngsters. Many times, people feel that our religion is very restrictive, right? There's haram, there's makruh, there are things you can't do. You can't do whatever you want. So now you've got to think about, I go to a hotel, I've got to think, is this food halal? Is this zabiha? Can I eat this food? Does this food have alcohol? Does it have any of the ingredients? Does it have gelatin? Does it have animal gelatin? All these things you have to think, because it's haram to you. Haram, Allah says it's haram to eat such food, it's najis. Therefore, if it is not zabiha, you can't eat meat, you can't eat chicken. Even if it is not pork, still you can't eat pork, is of course qat'an haram. So, this question that our religion is full of restrictions. Why? What is the rationale? What is the reason? Why is it that Muslims all have to think about what we can do, what we can't do, what we can do, what we can't do? Others don't care. Others eat whatever they want. Others do whatever they want. And they are free. And they are enjoying life. And we tell ourselves, oh, they are enjoying life. We have to think about, we can't listen to certain types of music, we can't dance, we can't have relationship with women, we can't have girlfriends, we can't have this, we can't have that. You see others doing it free. Why? What is this? So this system of moral control that Allah has given us is a very important system. This system, for example, we say something could be either it's wajib, obligatory, you must do it. So you can't say, I will not pray. You can't. You can't say, I won't get up in the morning to pray, or in time, before it's qaza. Nowadays you can wake up at 6 o'clock and you can pray. You can start praying at about 6 or 10, I think. 6 or 10 or 6 or 5. You can pray. Beginning time, before it gets qaza. You can't, it's wajib. You can't say, when there is eclipse of the moon, you can't say, I will not do this namazi ayah. It is wajib fawri, immediate wajib. If there is someone who has died, and he has got no one to give him ghusl, no one to give him kafan, no one to bury him, it's wajib kifai. It is wajib. You must give him that. If there is no one, if there is one person, that's wajib kifai on that person. If there are others who are already doing it, then the obligation is lifted. So if there are sufficient number of people doing it, that's fine. But if no one is doing it, it's wajib kifaya. So we have this thing that's either wajib or haram or makruh. Makruh is something that is not good to do, but it's not haram. It is something which is not recommended. It's frowned upon by Allah. You don't get sawab for doing makruh, but you get sawab for doing mustahab. Mustahab is recommended. You should do it. And then there is mubah. Mubah is you can decide whether to drink water now or to drink later on. It's your decision. It's mubah. There is no restriction where you should drink water. As long as the water is park, you drink it. There's no problem about that. So we have this system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And that system then tells us that there are certain types of sins that are gunai kabira. And there are certain types of sins that are gunai sagira. Small gunas, big gunas. There are some sins which are punishable by prescribed punishment, which is like criminal law, the criminal law of Islam. This is hudud, the had. And there are some crimes that can be compensated by blood money. There are some crimes which are violent, that hurt people. There are some crimes or some sins that are personal sins, like someone, he actually commits it within himself. He is not affecting anyone else. That's still a sin. So if he drinks alcohol at home, he is committing a sin. No one sees him, yet it's a sin, it's a personal sin. There are some sins in which you commit in society by doing riba, by doing tuhma, by making fun of people, by making them feel bad, by using your tongue to belittle them. All this is a sin, conceptual sins. And there are sins that affect your akhlaq. For example, your arrogance. You may be proud. If you are proud, then you will be affected by your akhlaq will be affected. So we have all these kinds of sins. And inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends us to develop ourselves fully to our potential. And these things that Allah has kept is to ensure that our soul develops according to prescription. So Allah knows, He created our soul, and He knows what will make it bad, what will keep it powerful. And so essentially Allah wants us to develop. And when we develop ourselves, then we become powerful. Salawat. I've got about 10-15 minutes, I think. If you look at the mission of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, you see he found himself, as I mentioned yesterday, the revolution of Karbala was started by Imam Hassan alayhi salam through the peace treaty, and was completed in Karbala by Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Both are the same two important instruments, two important events that created the saving of Islam, that made Islam saved for till eternity, both of them. So we find that Imam Hussain alayhi salam is now seeking to achieve a situation among the people where now we have a situation where, for example, the Quran is being violated, akhlaq, no akhlaq, whatever the ruler says is being obeyed. The ruler says this is law, it has to be obeyed, whether it's Islamic or not. So all these things, there's no security for people who are faithful, who have faith. If you don't obey the Umayyads, they will destroy you. One of the things that the Umayyad kings did, Ibn Ziyad did that, Ziyad, his father, did that, and Muawiyah did that, was if someone was opposing him, he would destroy him. He would kill him, he would destroy his family, he would take his possessions. So you find a situation where human rights are being violated, Quranic injunctions are being violated, and there is no one prepared to stand up and say that this is wrong. Everyone is accepting this because they are either being crushed by brute force or they are being corrupted through money and power. So everyone is accepting. No one to stand up. No one to tell Yazid, you are doing something totally wrong. You are not a good ruler. Forget about being a Muslim. You are not a good ruler. You are not a good human being in the way you are doing this. No one to stand up. Imam Hussain alayhi salam was the person to mobilize, to create a revolution in people's hearts and minds. People were so scared, so scared. People of Kufa, they betrayed Muslim ibn Aqil. 30,000 of them. They pledged bayat on the hands of Muslim ibn Aqil as the ambassador of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And the moment Ibn Ziyad comes, everyone is scared. The moment Ibn Ziyad says there is an army from Syria that's going to come, and if you don't do what we tell you, we'll destroy you. We find that people were absolutely, they lacked courage. They had no commitment. They didn't feel able to stand up and make a stand. And this is what Imam Hussain alayhi salam wanted. He wanted to revive in the Ummah the capacity to feel. They had become dead. They're just like you paralyze. Just like you paralyze the soul. The soul doesn't act anymore. The soul is not seeing anything anymore. The soul is dead. So he wanted the Ummah to feel the capacity, to feel, to awaken in them the power to take a stand, to be able to say, for Allah, this is wrong. In the name of Allah, this is wrong. And not to fear these people, to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Imam Hussain alayhi salam wanted to tear the mask of Islam that was being worn by Umayyads. He wanted to show to the world how far Umayyads were from Islam. And we discussed yesterday exactly what Yazid did. He did terrible things, and he did not believe in prophethood, he did not believe in accountability of Qiyamah, and he used to make fun of Quran, all of that, and still he calls himself a Muslim king. So Imam Hussain alayhi salam wanted to create a revolution. In this revolution, he wanted people who had certain qualities. So if you look at the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Imam Hussain alayhi salam wanted companions with certain types of qualities, certain characteristics. He wanted people who would submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Total submission to Allah. He wanted people who were brave and courageous, not people who were scared. He wanted people who had sabr, patience. He wanted people who loved Imam Hussain. He wanted people who had wilayah, who had got the muhabba of Imam Hussain in their hearts. He wanted people who would dedicate themselves for Imam Hussain. He wanted people who are steadfast, unflinching. Arrows are coming. Arrows are being thrown. But these companions are standing in front of the Imam. Sa'id and Zuhair ibn Affan standing in front of Imam and taking the arrows on their body. Steadfast, unflinching. Commitment to the just cause. Focusing only on Islam and protection of Islam. Having the tranquility of the heart. Having remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having utter sincerity, ikhlas. No ego. Absence of ego. Total ego. Nothing which they do for themselves. They are doing it purely for Islam. Ready to die and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Having taqwa. Being knowledgeable. Having personal akhlaq. Spiritual empowerment. And having wilayah to the love. So we find that when he sends Muslim ibn Aqil, his own cousin, to Kufa with a mission to see what the situation is like, Muslim ibn Aqil showed such courage. It is narrated that Imam Hussain alayhi salam, there were 5 people, if they were with him in Karbala, that Imam Hussain alayhi salam would have been totally militarily unbeatable. One is Muhammad Hanafiya, whom he leaves behind in Medina. Another is Muslim ibn Aqil, whom he sends to Kufa. The third is Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam, who is Shuja, and he keeps it him in Karbala. The fourth one is Zainul Abidin, our fourth Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his wisdom, in his maslahah, made him sick. So he could not, for the sake of protection, and himself, Imam Hussain alayhi salam himself. 5 people, such degree of shuja. You know, when Muslim ibn Aqil was being cornered in the house of Tawah, when he was being cornered by 500 soldiers, and there was a narrow alleyway, and there was fighting 1-to-1 person, the people who were in his Ziyad's forces, they were finding that the people are being killed by this one man. And Ibn Ziyad is telling them, why are you not able to conquer this man? Why are you not able to defeat this man? Because he had such personal courage, he had such personal shujaa, he had such commitment, he had such spiritual power that he was able to, they could not meet him until what they did is they tricked him. They tricked him, they made a trench and he made them fall in a trench and then they imprisoned him. When you take Muslim ibn Aqil as an example of shujaa, take another example. We have another example in the person of Zuhair ibn Affan. Zuhair ibn Affan is a person who is not even a follower of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Not even a follower. He was what was called Osmani. He was the person who believed that Osman was killed unjustly and that Imam Ali alayhi salam had a hand in it. So they used to believe that. And therefore they formed the party of Osman. He was one of them. He was coming from Hajj. He came to know that Imam Hussein's kafilah, Imam Hussein's caravan is moving ahead. And he was making sure that he doesn't have to stop in the same place as Imam Hussain. He hated Imam Hussain so much. The point comes when there was one place where he could not avoid it. So he was in the same place, making his manzil, making his tent together with Imam Hussain, a bit far away. And he's eating his food, or starting to eat his food. And the qasid, the messenger of Imam Hussain comes and says to him, Zuhair, my Mawla, Abu Abdullah, calls you. And he had food in his hands. He had put his food, he was trying to eat. And he felt such hatred at the name of Imam Hussain alayhi salam that he threw the food down. And he was disgusted. And then he said, no, I won't go. Then his wife tells him that what kind of a person you are. The grandson of the Holy Prophet calls you, you don't even want to listen to him, you are not even behaving like a human being, you are not behaving like a person of akhlaq. Go and see him, listen to him. He goes and he comes back transformed, totally transformed. This goes to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He gets a transformation in his heart. Such transformation that when he comes back, he tells his companions, if you want to come with me, come. I am now joining the camp of Imam Hussain. And he goes to join. And he tells his wife, according to some narration, he tells his wife, you can go. I have freed you. He said, no, I want to be with you. I want to be with you. I want to be with Imam Hussain. And when it came to the day of Ashura, when it came to the night of Ashura, when Imam Hussain alayhi salam is telling everyone, you can leave. These people, the 30,000 soldiers or more in the banks of Furat, who are there circling the camp of Imam Hussain, totally in every direction, they only want the blood of Hussain. They don't want to hurt you. You can go. At that time, Zuhair ibn Affan says, Ya Mawla, if I am given 1,000 times to live in this world, and I die 1,000 times, but I will not leave you, Ya Mawla. I have found you. This is wilayah. I found you. I will not leave you. I will hang on to you. I will be with you throughout. This is Zuhair ibn Affan. That is the kind of spirit that Imam Hussain alayhi salam wanted to see in the people. The caravan of Imam Hussain alayhi salam leaves Medina to go to Mecca. About 95 days in Mecca, lot of tabligh, lot of sermons. When Imam Hussain comes to know that some people have been sent by Yazid in the guise of pilgrims with ihram but hidden with weapons to kill him, then he leaves on the 8th day. The day Muslim ibn Aqil is martyred in Kufa, that the Yawmul Tarawiyah, he goes. And he leaves Makkah to go to Kufa. When he goes to Kufa, on the way, there is one person, and I think it's a very important incident that we should know about this. This one person he finds a tent on the way where there is a beautiful horse, and in this tent, inside there is a person. So he sends a messenger. He says, who is this person? His name is Ubaydullah ibn Qurr al-Ju'fi. Ubaidullah ibn Hur al-Jaf. And he says, he sends his own relative. Imam says, sends someone who is related to him. The person is called Hajjaj bin Masr. He said, go and tell Ubaidullah that Imam says, come and defend me. Come and help me. I want help. See, Imam is calling out for help. And this Ubaidullah says, I have left Kufa because the people of Kufa turned against Imam. I have no courage. I have no strength. I have no commitment in my heart to be able to defend. I will not be able to do it. Tell Imam, tell your Imam, I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him. And I don't want him to see me. This is the level of this person. And then what does Imam do? Imam then comes with his family members. He comes with a group of family members. He comes inside the tent. He seeks permission to enter the tent. And he tells Ubaidullah, if you help me, you will be successful. If you don't heed my call for help, you will perish. You will be unsuccessful. And Ubaidullah ibn Hur al-Jafi is saying that when he saw the Imam in this way, there was such nur and radiance on the face of Imam that he felt his heart is burning. He felt burning inside the heart because of the nur, because of the power of spirituality that he could see in Imam said. Yet he says to him that I have no moral courage to do this. If you want my horse, I'll give you my horse. It's a very fast horse. You can fight with this horse. You can run away from your enemies with this horse. And Imam says, if you are not prepared to sacrifice your life for me, I don't want it. I don't need your horse. This person regretted all his life that he was given this golden opportunity. You know, we say, Ya laytani kuntu ma'akum fa'afuza ma'akum. He was given this golden opportunity. Imam comes to him at his house, in his tent, to persuade him to come and help him. And he turns Imam down. Imam Sayyidina is walking, the caravan of Imam Sayyidina is going now towards Karbala. And on the 2nd of Muharram, Imam Sayyidina is resting on his camel. He's resting on his camel. He's closed his eyes. He's like taking a nap on his right. And he's walking. He's riding, and Yaqub alayhi salam is with his horse riding along with him. And suddenly Imam salam gets up from his seat. He says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So Yaqub alayhi salam asks, oh my father, what is it that has made you say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un? And then Imam tells him that I was in my sleep and I dreamt that there is a voice telling me that this caravan is headed towards death and death is coming towards this caravan. At that time, Ali Akbar says, oh my father, are we not on haqq? Are we not on righteousness? Are we not on the right path? Imam says, yes, we are on the right path. Then Ali Akbar says, then what does it matter whether the death comes on us or we go towards death? What does it matter? Such commitment. Imam goes forward. A point comes when his horse stops. When the horse stops and doesn't want to go anymore, Imam asks the people, what's the name of this place? So someone says, this place is called Taf. Is there any other name? So this is called Nainawa. Is there any other name? And finally, he says this Akra. There's a name called Akra. Sahil Firat. And finally, someone who is quite elderly says, this place is called Karbala. That point, Imam comes down from the horse. He looks at the soil. He takes the soil in his hands and he kisses it. He smells it and says, this is the place where my shahadat is written. This is the place where my children are going to be orphaned. This is the place where our women will be taken prisoners. This is the place where the tents are going to be burnt. This is the place where Ali Asghar is going to be shaheed. This is the place where the tragedy of Karbala is going to take place. Ya Imam, when you heard Ali Akbar say, what does it matter whether death comes upon me or we go towards death? At that point, on the day of Ashura, when Ali Akbar alayhi salam is going towards Maidan, and he has asked for permission from Imam Hussein alayhi salam to go, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam has already given permission to Ali Akbar. At that time, Imam goes behind him. He goes behind him, walking, looking for him, looking at him. And Ali Akbar says, "Oh my father, why are you coming behind me? Why, you already said farewell to me." At that time, Imam Hussein says, "Oh Ali Akbar, I wish you had a father. I wish you had a son, a young son like you. You would know what is happening to my heart. I'm sending someone to the Maidan who looks like the Holy Prophet, who has the seerah of the Holy Prophet. People who want to do ziyarah, they look at you. I'm sending you to the Maidan to be killed." May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the blessings of the zikr of Muhammad. May all our hajjat be accepted. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us spiritual power to be the ansar of Imam Zamana. Ajal Allah ta'ala faraj shari. Matam Hussein. Ya Hussein.